Hey guys, this is Alec Featherston. I'm the guy who topped with baby raccoons at the Arizona OTS at Samurai Comics. And yeah, I just kind of I saw the video and I was really happy. I'm not a super competitive player, so I don't top a lot of events, but it was really fun to see my deck profile, and I'm hoping that people can appreciate some of the cool stuff about my deck, or at least what I think is some of the cool stuff about my deck. But yeah, so I was really flattered. I'd really like to thank Vex666 for featuring my deck. I really appreciate it. And that being said, I've seen his videos before and I know how he runs through them, so I just thought that I would make a video for myself um, to show some of the combos of the deck, because unlike a lot of other decks, my deck is kind of tailored towards one specific card that a lot of people don't know, even more obscure than some Baby Raccoon decks. So I guess I'll just my instead of my deck's a little different from most Baby Raccoon decks. It's a Fabled Unicore control deck, so it's centered around this card right here. I'm looking at the video. I'm trying to make sure it's all it's all oriented for you guys. But I'll just read the Fabled Unicore so you can get an idea of how awesome this card is, why I built around this card. While you and your opponent have the same number of cards in hand, negate all spell, trap, and effect monster effects activated by your opponent and destroy that spell, trap, or monster. So, yes, as long as I have the same number of cards in hand, I'm able to negate every single card that my opponent plays. So that was pretty relevant to the way that the deck is designed. And a lot of cards that seem kind of out of place or kind of totally unnecessary, like Legacy of Yatagarasu, or Reckless Greed, or even just 2 copies of Upstart Goblin, are actually tailored to make this guy work as efficiently as possible. So yeah, since you already have the deck list, I don't need to go through the deck list. You can just look at the video to see the card choices. I'm just gonna go over. This guy, the Unicore. If you've seen any other Baby Raccoon decks, you know how they work. You know that basically, Obedient Schooled is a broken card. It's a very unfair card, and there's lots of silly things that you can do with it. The combo that most people know that you can do with it is just bringing out 2 of these guys. This is Raccoon, Ronin, Sendayu. He's like a mini Draco sack, and when you have 2 of them out, they protect each other. Imagine having 2 Draco sacks that protect the other one from destruction. And then you make massive, massive tokens. I ran one really a little gimmicky card to combo with it. I ran United We Stand, but I mean, that's just a preference. I prefer this over Junk Synchron because you have to normal summon a Junk Synchron, so it's a lot slower. This just lets you, get right to the point and kill people. But yeah, so I mean, that's sort of the fundamentals of any Baby Raccoon deck. But unlike most Baby Raccoon decks that try and go for double Sandayu play, I try and go for Sendayu Unicore, and how you do that is just simply you activate Obedient Schooled, okay, and then you get, you have to get 3 different beasts, it doesn't matter what they are, and then you get the Fabled Cerebell. I hope you can see that. I can't really tell because I'm doing this with my computer cam. And then you get it, and then you normal summon another beast, so then you go Synchro, get the Fabled Unicore, overlay these 2, get this guy, detach material, summon a token. So this play doesn't really look that overwhelming because if you bring him out in attack mode, that's only 5,300 points of damage. But keep in mind, before you summon the Fabled Unicore, say you have I don't know, a bunch of cards in hand, right? And say your opponent has 2 cards in hand, and I have for some reason I have 5 cards in hand, right? I'll just set 3 cards from my hand, and now before I summon the Unicore, and now I have 2, make the play, and now the Unicore is he's protecting you from all of your opponent's back row. Your opponent's whole back row is disabled unless they have Valor, unless they have that. And even if they have Valor, even if they have some different hand traps, you have ways of working around that. If you say that they activate Valor on him in the main phase, right, to try at the end of main phase to try and like keep their traps open, right? You can hold one MST. You can hold one MST in your hand, and then when they do that, you chain MST on their back row, and now your hand size is the same, and he can actually negate effect failure that way. If you have like chainable cards like MST or Book of Moon in your hand, you can literally just hold them, wait for your opponent to say Mirror Force, wait for your opponent to say Bottomless, Torrential, anything, and then play this to get your hand size down one to match it, and then negate their card and blow up another card on the field. So the Fabled Unicore is a real enabler for a lot of the combos in this deck. So yeah. And then I guess I'll just briefly explain some of the kind of weird stuff. So I'll put the Fabled Unicore, off to the side like this, and I'll make a list of cards that you can abuse. So Mystical Space Typhoon, you can use it on your turn, and Book of Moon to sort of bait out your opponent's cards and then change your hand size on a dime from your hand. It's really cool. It's really useful. And then in your back row, you have Compulsory Evacuation Device. You can bounce your monsters or their monsters to change your hand size for Unicore to negate their cards. You have Phoenix Wing Blast. You can discard cards from your hand for the cost of Phoenix Wing Blast to change your hand size down to get it down to their hand size when their cards resolve, so you get to negate their stuff. I played 2 Legacy of Yugioh. I didn't play 3 because it's like, if you play 3 of this card, then it's basically like every copy of Legacy of Yugioh. If you're not able to make Unicorn, then that's a card that you don't get to use until the next turn. So it's like a crappy version of Upstart Goblin. But that being said, if you have Legacy and Unicorn, it's great because it's like you almost get to negate cards for free. It's like Solemn Judgment, but better. And then you play Reckless Greed. Reckless Greed fills the same role as Legacy, except it digs faster for Obedience Schooled, and that's one of the real advantages of the Fabled Unicore build, is because just to play Fabled Unicore, you have to play all this draw engine stuff, but when you play all the draw engine stuff, you get to see Obedience Schooled that much more often, and because I play so much deck thinning and so much draw, I'm able to see double Reckless Greed fairly consistently, or at least at a higher rate than a lot of other decks are capable of seeing double Reckless Greed. And we all know that if you pull 2 of this card, it's the nuts. You're just 2 cards ahead of your opponent for the rest of the game. And honestly, games usually end in 2 turns in Yu-Gi-Oh!, so it doesn't even matter. And then, besides that, you have Effect Veiler. And this also allows you to manipulate your hand size on your opponent's turn. So, like, obviously you can use Effect Veiler the good old-fashioned way and just pitch it and negate a thing, right? And this deck honestly needs Effect Veiler to protect your face-down monsters, because, like, Fire Fists are able to like pop your baby raccoons, so you really need effect negation to prevent your opponent from using like popping effects and things that'll really slow you down. I guess that's it for the stuff in the main deck. And then in the side deck, in terms of what synergizes with this guy, you've got Max C. So Max C is even better than Veiler, because Veiler you can only use during their main phase. Max C you can use during any time in the game. So like, at any point, if their hand size is 1 away from yours, you can just drop Max C, change the hand size, and negate the thing. Max C functions as, good old-fashioned Max C. We all know it's a good card. But it also functions as Solemn Judgment from hand while you have Unicorn. So Max C is really great after it comes out of the side deck. Twister, just like MST, and just like MST and Book of Moon, you can change this from your hand on your turn to change your hand size for Unicore and negate stuff. Another reason that I played this over Fairy Wind is that since I play so many trap cards, it's really hard for me to deal with Royal Decree, so I need outs to Royal Decree. And then the last hand size manipulator is Mind Crush. Like, if you notice, this deck actually doesn't play any searching, so like a lot of versions of Baby Raccoons that we've been seeing top other events, especially like regionals, have been playing Mistake, because you can play Mistake in the main deck and it doesn't affect you at all. Mind Crush, this allows you to actually call cards wrong or right based on the number of cards that your opponent has in your hand. So you can play Mind Crush and say that you have like 2 cards in your hand and your opponent has 1 card in their hand. You can actually flip this and say like Gate Guardian or like Exodia the Forbidden One, and then you get to negate their thing. and can go on your merry way. That actually came up. That actually won me a match with Mind Crush. He Fiendish Chained the Fabled Unicore in my standby phase when I drew, because he thought I wouldn't be able to like match my hand size at the start of my turn, which is generally true. But I was able to, Mind Crush, and then I was able to put out a good like 5,000, 6,000 damage on the next turn because of him and because of Raccoon Ronin. So yeah. Yeah, so if there's anything I want you to take away from this video, it's that the reason that my list looks so different from most other Fabled Unicore, most other Baby Raccoon builds is because it is a Fabled Unicore control deck at its heart and soul, and not so much a Baby Raccoon combo deck. I can't make Nat Beast, I can't do all those other things, but I get to troll people with this guy, and it's really great. So yeah, I hope that helped. Yeah. See you later.